Hey, welcome back to another edition of Limited Skills. I'm James.
And I'm Brandon.
And, God, I need a segue from that into opening packs. Hey, look, you're opening packs.
Yeah, it's upside down. Look, I'm talented. I know how to open packs upside down.
Why does anybody watch this?
I'm gonna quit when I hear myself say that.
Oh, well, there's a green cartouche, so
Yeah,
you've already
almost
won.
snap pick into that. Kevnet's Monument's good too. There was a lot of good stuff in here. I was real happy with Never to Return. It doesn't put me in two colors. It's two really good effects in the set.
Oh, yeah. There aren't many split cards that are one color, are there?
I think there's one of each, and then one of each two-color combination as well.
Sure.
There's Dawn to Dusk and I wanted to say Need to Feed, but I don't think that's right. Feed, Mouth to Feed,
Yeah.
and the blue one.
So many cats in this pack. Also, the glare in the store is really bad. We need to talk to the owner about that.
Yeah, we should get some lights removed.
Yeah.
For our convenience.
Just wherever you sit, they just need to get rid of one of those overhead lights. But what card do you take?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot that like stuck out as crazy good first pick. There were a few okay things. I don't even remember what I jumped into here.
I think
This is going to be a surprise for all of us.
Yeah, well, I know what you take, but I'm not sure. It was either him or I'd probably look at the Hooded Brawler and the Flash Cat.
Yeah, what I didn't want to do was go into two colors right away, but the Hooded Brawler I think is a better pick generically than what I took.
But yeah,
which is
because
still
of your
okay.
removal, that makes the Horror of the Broken Lands a little better.
But I mean, it's so early. There's a chance I could have just dived right into black green and
Yeah, been fine.
been rewarded for it well.
Now, I remember at one point you said that unblockable snake, the slithery skirmisher,
Yeah.
people were really excited about him on like the sort of pro level.
Yeah, I think high level, super aggressive, like 1 and 2 drop decks, kind of led by him, have been doing really well. I haven't watched those myself. I sort of hear through the grapevine, and I haven't seen that at a local level at all.
Now, you do third pick Miasma Mummy, but I guess you just took Horror of the Broken Land, so that's a sort of way to maybe get some discard triggers.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense.
And I like that guy anyway. Just 2 for a 2/2 that does a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you play that 2/2 on turn 6 and they discard their only bomb in hand.
Ooh, yeah. This is still limited. Does still seem like I don't want to say it's bomb heavy, but
I still think
there
this
are some
set
haymakers.
There's some consistent decks that'll trump that, but
nothing here that seems really overwhelming. Yeah, Winds of Rebuke.
yeah, I like that as a bounce spell. I don't know. There's a lot of synergy of getting to mill yourself because there's the Graveyard Aftermath and Graveyard Embalming.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit one thing, then you get card advantage out of it also. Keep in mind, though, your opponent gets that too.
Yeah.
If they have their deck built to those type of synergies.
The Faith of the Devoted is a card that I want to work, but I'm not sure how great it is in limited.
I think if you have a cycle-heavy deck, which I know that's an archetype that can function, but you really have to kind of go into it.
Yeah.
You can't just kind of have it as a sub-theme very well.
You have to prioritize.
I
those
think that
cycle
card
decks.
is good if you're into that.
Okay.
If that's your thing.
If you want to discard your cards, that's fine.
So this was a 9-man pod, and that's why it appears I'm passing to my right, as it's awkwardly around the table.
We're taking some time to reflect here.
He. We might have made that joke in person too.
No, because you get mad when I talk about your picks.
Yeah, don't talk about my picks. Don't talk about anybody's pick. Anybody listening, don't talk about your picks. I don't care if it's casual or regular rules enforcement. It's so annoying when people are talking about their picks.
But let's get back to talking about your picks.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. I've been piling on some flyers so far too. That Drake I took. I don't know. It's a decent size for its cost, and then getting the option of cycling it early is sweet.
And you have a Slitherblade. Putting a cartouche on the Slitherblade seems fine.
Yeah. The flying is largely irrelevant for it, but just getting to draw a card and replace itself, like that blue cartouche is never a bad card in your deck.
Yeah.
Unless you just don't have enough creatures, which might have been my problem in this draft.
Yeah, I don't know what you take here. Scarab Feast because it cycles.
Yeah, random graveyard hate. I don't know. I was kind of just going for the thing that I might be able to use. There was nothing exciting in that pack for what I'd been taking already.
There's another cartouche. That's kind of exciting. Cancel. Is cancel better in this set because of the bombs? I know
Maybe.
Generically Counterspell's not great.
I would probably say so. A lot of the biggest bombs I think of are creatures also. So the, can't think of it. The remove soul with a different name. The counter creature spell is
Yeah.
I think, very good in this set. And I usually don't play counter spells. I don't like playing limited counter spells because you don't always know what your opponent has. You can't plan around it as well as a constructed format. So in general, I advise people to not play counter spells in limited. I know that's not a hard rule. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I do think in this block they're more useful.
Doesn't one of them even cycle?
Yes. But there have been several cycling counter spells, and I don't remember. Oh, it's a Censor, right? It counters for 1, but you can cycle it.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Hey, look, I take a counter spell. I also think this is fine. It's 1 more mana than Mana Leak, but then you have the option of that secondary effect later.
Yep.
I know 1 mana is a big difference in the cost of a counter spell, but in limited, whatever, that's great.
Yeah.
You're going to counter something with it. And if you don't, they're going to have to tap those lands, and then you can aftermath it and make sure everything stays tapped.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Or at the very least, you deny them the possibility of playing a second card.
Yeah.
Gideon's Intervention. He's going to get in the way.
Oh, Essence Scatter. That card that I just passed to take a rare that I was not going to play. Yeah, that's the card that would have been pretty good.
I kind of feel bad for Gideon that they gave him a sort of worthless card. Like, he intervenes and it doesn't do anything.
That's the point, right?
I guess that's what Gideon
That's
does.
the theme of that card, right? Your card's not going to do anything. I think that effect is fine. I'm just surprised it's 4 mana. I don't know. I don't know if you at 2 mana it would be broken.
Yeah.
At 3 mana, maybe questionably broken or still bad. I'm not sure.
Now, let's talk about this pack. There's a Splendid Agony, Bone Picker, and prior to seeing the Bone Picker, I was going to say your choices are between the Soul Stinger Demon and Splendid Agony.
Yes, and I like both of those. The Bone Picker is definitely the right choice there.
Yeah.
That thing's really good. Even for 4 mana, I'd play it.
But without the Bone Picker, I probably would have taken the creature, the Soul Stinger.
Yeah, I like it.
Just because I feel like you're a little light on creatures at this moment.
Yeah,
And
and
they do a
even if
sort
I
of similar
weren't having
thing.
too many creatures is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's a good problem to have.
Oh no, I have too many threats. Crap.
Also, with it being a creature, it usually eats 2 cards, unless you're blocking like their big creature and then putting the counters on it. You're either going to trade with one of their creatures and then kill another creature or make it smaller, or they're going to have to spend a removal on it and make one of their creatures smaller. So I really like that,
Yeah,
that
he's
guy
sweet.
that moves the counters over.
Scribe of the Mindful. That's the one that gets an instant or sorcery back?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's a little slower than I necessarily want in every deck, but it's fine. I'll play one of it in a lot of decks with blue. I went with this guy just because he was a 2-drop. And contrary to most past illusions, it's only sacrificed if it's the target of a spell, not an ability.
Oh.
So they have to spend something on it.
Yeah.
So it's less likely to be wasted like old illusion abilities were.
Sure.
So I like this one a lot more than past illusions, not to mention that it gets to embalm. But 2 for a 2/3 in blue is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like the Ron Burgundy of these cards. I wanted to take approach of the second zone, but I was far out of white at this point, but trust me, I wanted it. I've talked about that Minotaur before. It's one of those things that it goes late pretty consistently, but I'm always really happy to get it.
Right?
Eat up some final rewards any chance I get.
Oh, yeah. I'll exile that all day long. Wonder what they're doing with that mummy. Like,
They're taking it to exile.
Ancient Crab. Every time you pass an Ancient Crab, I think of your friend, and it makes me a little sad.
He loves ancient crabs. He has so many ancient crabs.
Now, this seems like a very blue creature. Like a throwback to older blue designs.
Yeah, but without being bad at the same time. Which I think is cute.
Because they don't really make creatures like that anymore.
I feel like every few sets they have a big serpent with some weird drawback.
Sure.
And I feel like they throw that into blue once in a while.
I like decision paralysis.
But I do think that serpent is one of the better ones. Because of the fact that, I don't know, if you have a handful of them, they'll enable themselves to be able to be functioning creatures.
Yeah, I played a couple of them in limited, or not in limited, in sealed. And it wasn't my favorite card in the deck, but they were usually a threat that had to be dealt with.
If you're playing blue-green, and green can supply you better-sized creatures for cheaper mana, then you don't care and don't want to play it, really. But if you're playing blue, whatever, like, that's going to be your biggest thing in your deck.
Yeah, blue-black, for example. Oh, Floodwaters.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited about Floodwaters.
I've heard people say they don't like it because it's so expensive, but...
It can go really fast in the format. I played Pull from Tomorrow repeatedly, and I'm always really happy with having one of it in my deck.
Sure.
One of my sealed pools, I had 2 of it and decided that was too many. But
but you could pull from tomorrow and pull from tomorrow.
well, the thought was, so I did almost play both of them because I thought, well, if I hit the second one off of it, I can just discard it and not be worried about it.
Ooh, Shadowstorm Vizier. I'm always really happy when I'm drafting and I'm playing 2 colors and someone passes me the 2-color card.
Yeah.
Because it's not very often you get to play those, I feel like.
Unless you just go for it and force the colors real early,
Yeah. They often put those cards into a set as a sort of signal to guide players into drafting specific archetypes. Like, hey, blue-black pair really well together in this set, and blue-green are really good. But there's no blue-red card.
And give you an idea for the mechanic that those things are forced on.
Oh, take the beetle.
I'm sure I do. Why would I? I mean, I think Embalmer's Tools is cool, but I think you're going to have a goofy night if you're trying to play it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to have a fun draft and you build around that, I think you're going to be like, man, Embalmer's Tools are sweet. It's a card I would really like to play, but at this point in the draft, like I think I'm past the point of committing to that weird strategy.
If you decide to like first pick it over the rare and your pack,
over the like 4 other better cards or like 12 other better cards,
and then just commit. You're all in on the Embalmer Tools plan. Maybe it'll be good. If you do that, please let us know. Because he's not doing the Unburden thing, so I'm definitely not going to do that.
I've denied you every opportunity of casting Unburden. I usually even draft it and then just don't pop it in my deck.
Oh, is this the last pack?
Yeah.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Me too.
Blue cartouche.
I don't know what that means, bated breath.
Maybe you...
I mean, I've heard it before.
Smell like fish?
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, there's a red-blue card. I lied. Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Yeah, it's like a weird card. If you're super aggressive, if you're playing that deck with a bunch of 1-drops that I mentioned, it would be very good in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost just dropped my cards on the table, like I've never held a pack of Magic cards before.
Another mummy?
Yeah, there was nothing...
Sure.
That...
Why the mummy over the blue cartouche?
I think I already had 2 blue cartouches. And while I said you can't have too many of those, I think I'm running a little creature light, in which you can.
So you can never run too many of them unless you're running too many.
Unless you're me.
Yeah.
Also, what I realized is that a lot of my creatures already had evasion through flying or menace, in which the flying would be redundant.
I want you to take Blighted... I want you to take Cartouche of Ambition.
I don't think there's any way I'm not. It's so funny watching myself draft later, and it's like watching somebody else draft, and I'm like cheering for myself. I'm like, yeah, make the good decision. And sometimes I don't. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, we're 2 weeks out because we missed a draft. So this is delayed a little bit.
Yeah. It actually surprised me the first couple picks. I was like, I don't remember this. I realized I had to think back a previous Friday.
Oh, looking at that Ancient Crab.
Yeah, the Ancient Crab didn't seem like a terrible pick because I thought I was a little creature light. And it is an okay defensive creature.
It blocks a lot of
if you know
early
you're going. The problem is I don't think my deck would actually be great for it in the situation because it's good for surviving until you draw or can cast your big late game bomb, which this deck is lacking.
Yeah.
So I take a 1-drop that's kind of okay.
I like Festering Mummy.
Yeah.
Strict upgrade
kind of
on
okay.
Festering Goblin.
That's not true because the other one has 2 relevant creature types.
Okay.
But in this set, yes. The triggered ability on Festering Goblin is mandatory and can bone you.
Yeah, I've been in that situation where like, oh, my Festering Goblin is going to kill my other Festering Goblin.
Chain Goblin Massacre. You got that Soul Stinger anyway, which I was happy about.
Now I'm fussing. Hold your cards different. There's an Unburden, Brandon.
God, I hope I take anything else. I hope I take Sacred Excavation.
I think you do, actually.
Oh, Essence Scatter would have been the best pick, for sure, from this pack. I think I just couldn't remember how many cycling cards I had at this time.
Okay.
And even though it's regular, and you're allowed to just look at your picks at any time in regular, I try and just condition myself to not do that.
Yeah,
so
most people I've noticed don't.
Yeah, and it varies on whether people care or not. And the truth is, at regular, it's allowed. But it's a good habit in case you end up playing competitive or you just end up playing with people you don't know and you don't know etiquette to, not be constantly referencing your pack. Because it can cause confusion if you've got a handful of cards while you've got a handful of picks right in front of you also.
That was a compelling argument, Brandon. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. How much would I have to argue to justify picking compelling argument right now?
When you take involvement, I don't know. Do you want to start trying? I don't even remember what it does.
It mills 5 cards. And you can cycle it.
That would turn on your Serpent. Like, immediately.
Got a Slither Blade. I think I passed the one earlier. Yeah, I knew the Slither Blade wasn't quite exactly what my deck needed. But there wasn't anything else that struck my fancy.
Yeah, you're some weird kind of mid-range thing?
Yeah, which I don't think... I think it's probably the worst range to be if your deck is, like, focused into one range. I think you either want to be really aggressive and tempo-y, or you want to be slow and get to that bomb.
Ooh, second Evolving Wilds pick.
Yeah, so I've got some opportunity to, like,
now you can
splash some
splash
weird stuff.
Gideon's Intervention.
Double white, sure, why not? Yeah, at the end I got set up. I could have splashed for something, which probably would have been better, but I didn't. And when I'm playing 2-color, I'm not going to comes into play tap lands. I'll just...
Yeah.
Unless I've got some weird, complicated mana things. Look
Yeah.
at this pile of good cards at the end.
Pursue Glory.
It's so frustrating to me. Like, somebody else's deck is, like, missing these things.
Yeah. Or maybe there's only that one guy, and he's about to get one of those
that
things.
Shepherd is sweet, too.
Yeah. This card's all right.
Yeah. There's a lot of good random picks that were absolutely not in my colors.
Yep. You should have been playing red.
So, I think I should have been playing white. I think...
Do we need to redo this draft?
Yeah, let's just rewind, and then we'll... How do we do this? This doesn't work. We can't time travel.
We're still working on that. Taco Lum Games hasn't quite got to time travel yet.
Yeah, we're going to trademark the hell out of it when we do.
Yeah, we are.
Then nobody will be able to say time travel without owing us money.
They'll have to say time stories?
That's a game.
I know.
Oh.
I've heard it's a good one, too. Okay, so you're building a deck now. Kind of? You're flipping off that snake.
Yeah, suck it, snake. I'm waiting for my hand gestures to explain to me what the plan is, because... yeah, as we said earlier, this ended up being really mid-rangey. So I don't know. I sort of stabilized against, like, an aggressive deck, but then didn't really have a finisher to come back fast enough if they could kind of burn me out. And I didn't quite have the in-game bombs. I believe I went 2-1. Memory on this deck is a little hazy. As we said, it was a week and a half ago. And, I've played a little more Magic since then. Yeah, I didn't have enough cycling stuff to really support I took like 3 cycling matters cards and ended up, I don't think, playing
didn't
any
matter.
of them. Yeah.
I mean, it still seems fine.
Yeah, I had a lot of 2-drops,
Yeah.
and that was what did work for me. As I noted, the blue cartouches, while it was really good, didn't actually do a whole lot for me because a lot of my creatures had evasion already.
But it seems like you've got a decent amount of removal. You've got some dudes who can remove.
Yeah, I've been going 2-1 a lot in this block.
Yeah, man, you were kicking ass in Modern Masters.
Yeah.
You should go back to that.
All the Masters sets, I always do incredibly well, which is funny because since I don't play Modern or Eternal formats at all, I know, like, I recognize these cards way less than anybody else. I've never used a Tarmogoyf for a Force of Will, like, in a competitive environment in the slightest. So it's always funny that I feel like I have an advantage on those sets. It just varies from block to block. I mean, honestly, the next set may come out to complement Amonkhet, and will just change my luck entirely. Not just my luck, but like it'll just tweak the strategy and metagame of the draft that is for or against my favor.
Do you find you have a preferred style of deck you like to play? Do you prefer faster decks or
Tempo, not necessarily fast, but they sort of come off as aggressive. But and this is true of anything, like just curving out really well. That's usually your biggest goal. Like if you can build your deck so that you somewhat consistently have a good 2, 3, and 4 drop, you're going to be doing a lot more than a lot of players end up doing on those turns, which is huge.
that might be the most useful tip anyone has gotten from Limited Skills. I think we should close on that.
All right, it's done.
Done. See you next week.